Errol Spence being warned to get health evaluations after the Terence Crawford fight. What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Cardinal Red. But let's talk about it. Alright, y'all. So, I was going through some articles, man, trying to think of an idea for my next video, this video. And I ran across a few articles speaking about Errol Spence's health. I wanted to give my 17 nickels on what's going on and break it down for whoever listening.
I mean, I'm just sick of fighting people that I try to help, because I know how much I wish I had somebody to tell me who to watch out for and how to do things the right way, so we ain't wasting time running on a treadmill and figuring out how to empower each other instead of going against each other. If we do it together, we the plug. And I've been saying this shit for years, and everybody says I'm crazy.
Alright, so apparently Virgil Hunter and Tim Bradley are extremely concerned about Errol Spence's health after the Terence Crawford fight. They feel like he should go get some health evaluations. And I just want to break that down and give my analysis on what they're talking about. Alright, so there's been this narrative getting pushed, you know, by a lot of Spence fans, a lot of Spence channels, and I think some Spence haters, some detractors, people that were never going for Spence in the first place are now pushing this narrative. And the narrative basically is that Errol Spence had something severely wrong with him, and he needs to be thinking about getting health evaluations and perhaps his retirement from the sport of boxing.
I got a problem with that. I'm telling you this.
When it comes to the boxing channels, I think that they're pushing a narrative of the brain injury because they can't accept the fact that Errol Spence lost the fight, and they're very, you know, they're very hurt about this, man. There's a lot of hurt feeling. I said that last week before the fight happened, that whoever loses, their fan base is going to be in a lot of denial, and there's going to be a whole lot of hurt feelings over this.
But relax. Do what I showed you.
Don't mess with me, I'll play. Hey, give it back. Huh?
Me, I'm a realist. You know, it might seem like, hey, well, you're not a fan because you're just moving on. No, I'm moving on because there's other stuff that has to be talked about. I've turned myself into a boxing analyst and sports analyst. This is a sports channel. So I can't dwell on one thing. I have to keep pushing the new news that's out there. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be professional about this. And, you know, to me, those channels are pushing that narrative because they're such big Errol Spence fans. I won't call them fanboys or anything like that. They're such Errol Spence fans that they're having a hard time dealing with the fact that he lost. And they're grasping at anything to make his loss seem less impactful in their mind.
Even see it coming.
Gets worse, Lloyd. He's dead. What happened? His head fell off.
You know, and that's the best way I know how to put it without, you know, trying to, you know, downplay how they might feel about him taking that loss. Now, when it comes to people like Tim Bradley, I won't say Virgil Hunter, so, you know, I don't know Virgil Hunter's connection with Errol Spence, but I do know Tim Bradley's connection and a few other people that are pushing this narrative as well. You know, Tim Bradley, I feel like, never liked Errol Spence. He's been salty at Errol Spence since back in the day when he tried to fight Errol Spence, and, you know, it never came to fruition for whatever reason.
You'd keep your mouth shut if you knew it was good for you, buddy.
So I think Tim Bradley has, you know, ulterior motives for pushing this narrative. Listen, I don't know Errol Spence personally, so I would never try to evaluate Errol Spence, not knowing him personally, not being his doctor, you know, not being within his inner circle. I'm not going to try to evaluate someone else's health that I don't know that closely. Unless, I know some real information. Now, if I know some real information that was leaked to the public, of course I'm going to talk about it. It's my job as a boxing channel is to talk about the new news. But they don't know this man's health history. They don't know the evaluations he had before the fight. They don't know the evaluations he had after the fight. They don't know the evaluations he had probably today, So I don't understand why Tim Bradley, an analyst, for Top Rank and ESPN, why he's pushing this narrative. Now, I want to say it's because he works for Top Rank and ESPN has always had favor for Terence Crawford.
Wait a minute, I know what you're up to, mister.
Ranked him very highly. They've always held him in high esteem. So I would never think that they would say anything bad about Crawford, but they obviously don't really have too much good things to say about Errol Spence Jr. And, I think they're pushing this narrative simply because they don't want to see Terence Crawford rematch Errol Spence. They feel like he should move on and, take some of these other high-level fights. And it's almost like they're pushing this narrative on behalf of Terence Crawford to try to get fans to, belittle Errol Spence into going and getting an evaluation that might tell him to step away from the sport.
You can't win!
Nobody did that to Ordanius Ugas. Nobody was pushing a narrative of, well, he needs to go get healthy. Did you see his face after the Errol Spence fight? Why wasn't they pushing a narrative after the Ugas fight of him going to get in a health evaluation? Why weren't they saying, hey, Errol Spence beat the crap out of Ugas, he needs to go get a health evaluation? Why is it after he gets beat by Terence Crawford, now all of a sudden his health it needs to be evaluated? Nobody cared before the fight. Nobody cared before the Ugas fight or after the Ugas fight. Nobody cared after the Danny fight. Why is it now that they're saying, hey man, you got beat pretty bad, your health is in danger? Why are people wishing this on to Errol Spence? Why are they wishing something bad on to Errol Spence? I don't understand that. I get it from, ESPN standpoint and Top Rank standpoint, because I think that they're going to try to get back into the Terence Crawford business now. And I get it from them. People like Virgil Hunter and others and these boxing channels, I don't really get it why they're pushing this narrative, because especially the boxing channels that are actually fans of Errol Spence. Like, why are y'all wishing some harmful stuff onto this man? And, you should really just let it be. He got beat. Live with it. He said he's fine. He wants a rematch.
He's all wrong for us, baby. I saw you beat that man, and the man kept coming after you. I know what you're feeling. Let it go. Let it go.
Now, the rematch is going to be at 154. I'm hoping it's going to be at 154. I really want it at 147, but if Errol can't make that weight, and, that's a problem, and that's the reason why he lost, then, 154, I'll accept it there. I don't think it's going to sell as well as the 147 fight, but I'll accept it there if Errol has a better shot of at least giving a better performance, because he didn't even show up for the 147 fight, and he might have done it on purpose, man. He just knew that he was drained, and there was nothing he could do, so he just accepted the fact he was going to lose that fight, and, it is what it is. He wants the rematch. Now, when it comes to this narrative that they're pushing, unless you were someone pushing that narrative after the Ugas fight and pushing it for Ugas to go get, then you shouldn't be pushing it now, because Errol Spence is fine. Errol Spence, most likely got beat because he was weight drained. Errol Spence didn't say that he was unhealthy after the Ugas fight. He didn't say that he had some brain. So if he was able to beat the crap out of Ugas like that, and pretty much the same way that he got beat, then why are people pushing this narrative? Because it makes no sense, and it's not fair to someone who actually made the fight. Errol Spence made that fight happen. It wasn't Terence Crawford. He walked away from the negotiation last summer. Errol Spence took a year out of his life to make this fight, and we should be doing nothing but praising him for making the fight and doing nothing but praising Terence Crawford for winning the fight and hoping for a rematch in the near future.
10 years you come to my house. Huh? What's the matter? You don't like my house? My house stink? That's right, it stinks! What about my pride? Legs are going, everything is going, no one's getting enough. Yeah, I'll fight the big fight. I wanna get that! And you wanna be ringside and see it? Do you? You wanna help me out? Yeah, I'll fight him. Come on here, come to my house! Real nice, come on in the middle. It stinks! The whole place stinks!
Y'all let me know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me. Share. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms. That Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. But you're more than likely to get a response on the tube. So holler at me over there. If you want to collabo, feature a product or your channel on my channel, feel free to hit my Gmail because it is a flock of cards at gmail.com. We are money.
Durham with the flow, shit and piss on rappers, feces and urine on the floor. Mop it up, 100 mops not enough. Hotter than the top of your thermometer, it's the whiskey. Watch how I lean, so fresh, so clean. No tight ass jeans, please. Get your sag on, turn your swag on. Holla at the weed boy, get your bag on. You sure got a lot of backbone for a nigga talking wild on the track phone. I'm at home on the track, Holmes. If it's on, then it's on. Watch me. And I Durham with the flow, Durham with the flow, Durham with the flow, Durham with the flow. Got my grind way up, your time's way up. I got my mind made up. Watch me. Durham with the flow, Durham with the flow, Durham with the flow. You ain't Durham with the flow. Hear him when he flow and be like, darn it, he's the opposite of garbage. Are we on the same level? Hardly. Nigga, you a bike with pedals on my Harley. Chillin' with the ducks while I'm chillin' with the Barbies. You're starving, we're eating at old Charlie's. Are ye? Step into the dude, how rude. Watch how I move, the boy so smooth. I'm a go-getter, I go get cheddar. Spin that cheddar on corduroy sweater. And I Durham nigga flow, Durham with the flow, Durham with the flow, Durham with the flow. Got my grind way up, your time's way up. I got my mind made up. Watch me, Durham with the flow. You already know, cause I said it before just a second ago. But I'll say it again if you wasn't listening. Throw some repetition in, ain't no competition, man. Man, who you think you fooling with? Flow wetter than the school of fish. Who the stupidest? I think Lewis is in this bitch. I Durham with the flow, Durham with the